I get so psyched up by that intro song. And this is Manny Moonraker. This is a shit talk episode. There is nothing specific I want to talk about except for what the fuck you want to talk about. Nothing else. Nothing else matters other than ufology, your thoughts on it, and so forth. So, I honestly thought I was going to have an interview this week. This weekend. I thought I was going to have an interview with someone, but it is Easter weekend, and some of us do have like a connection to Christianity and the things that have to do with these holidays. And I'm not going to lie, so do I. So I'm going to spend some time spending time with family because it's Easter weekend. But I thought I could sneak in an interview at the last minute. I thought I could be there and give you guys what you want, because apparently the UBR Truth Seeker interviews are a hit. People want to listen about everyday shiitake. And I'm not talking about the mushroom. I'm talking about the UFO shiitake. And it didn't happen this weekend. So hopefully next weekend we'll get it together. We'll have our person here to talk about it. And that's the way it is. That's the way it works in ufology. You can't always get the right person. But what happened is, when I got the email saying, "Hey, Manny, I can't make it because it's Easter," I said, shit, what am I going to do? The UBR family is waiting for something. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get on there. I'm going to talk the shit with anyone that wants to talk the shit, because I don't know who does. I really don't know who does. So the number is 972-290-1329. And if you just missed it, it's in the description of the episode. Go in there, copy, paste, put it into your cell phone, and call in. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, if you're Skype savvy, it is at bosscrawler, and that's it, at bosscrawler on Skype, and you can reach me, and we'll chat through Skype. What the fuck can I tell you? That's the way it is. You know, I've been sitting around today. I'm not going to lie. I've been sitting around with the missus, and I've been looking at the OA. And it talks about, the OA is about multiverse, different dimensions, and all kind of crap. But at the same time, I've been thinking about what is UFO Buster Radio? Initially, when I restarted UFO Buster Radio with Big O, I was thinking, fuck. There's got to be a deeper meaning than just having random ass motherfucking people talking about their books, talking about the interviews they've done, talking about the TV channels they've been on, talking about all these projects that never really show up to amount to a shitload of beans, How is UFO Buster Radio different from everybody else? And then I started thinking it. We talked to Sawyer. Sawyer was on a few episodes ago, and he was a member of Heaven's Gate. Sawyer at one point was ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, but then humanity came in. Certain needs of humanity kept him from reaching what was required by T and Doe. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you heard him talk about it. You heard about how he couldn't meet the needs of the group because he had human needs that needed to be satisfied. And no, Sawyer, there is nothing wrong with meeting your human needs, because we, after all, are human. And the fact is that really, if you look at the span of our solar system, of our universe, of our galaxy, humanity, your life, is about a spit in a spittoon. Your life is a blink of an eye. compared to everybody else. So if you need to go play with yourself, fuck it. Just go ahead and fucking do it. Because the fact is, you're not going to solve anything. You're not going to solve anything if you stop jerking off. I'm sorry, Sawyer. But that's the truth of it. But the thing is that we're grateful that Sawyer is still here. Because Sawyer got to share with us what it was to be part of that group. What it meant. What the amount of commitment was to be part of Heaven's Gate. And the fact that it wasn't just about that meteor. It was about giving your life to the cause. Giving your life to the idea that you can be more than just human. And that's why I'm here. That's why Manny Moonraker is here. The day before Easter, for those of you who are Catholic and Christian and follow that holiday, that's why I'm here. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I reached out to Big O. I said, Big O, can you join us right now? Can you join us right now and talk about it? Big O said, yeah, I'm fucking working. Are you serious, Big O? You're fucking working. You are one of the people that started this podcast. Okay. No, I'm not going to say it. But I know that the one person that was on the podcast in the beginning, really, Big O was excited about having this person. And we listened to him recently, and that's Ronnie Dawson. And, you know, if I can be honest, I want to be honest with you guys. I'm building a corporation based on UFO Buster Radio. And I'm building an idea that folks like Ronnie Dawson should be heard. Regardless if you believe in it, regardless if you believe in the story, it needs to be heard. UFOs, UFOs, unidentified flying object. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck it is. But there's a reason you don't know. You know, you sit in an airplane. Motherfucker, are you serious? You sit in an airplane, you don't know what the fuck you're sitting in? Come on! You see videos on YouTube, and you don't know what the fuck you're looking at? No! They're unidentified for a fucking reason. And let me give a shout out to Ron, and Ronnie Dawson, who's signed on to the live chat on Spreaker.com. Because the Moonraker is heated. The Moonraker is mad as fuck. Hashtag that. And send it out. Because I listen to these other podcasts, and I do. It is not research. I want to know what the fuck people are saying. I want to know what the fuck they're saying. What are they saying? What are they saying about ufology? We just had that story about Bob Lazar and his FBI people coming in, not because he was hiding up in Pentium, not because he was hiding chemicals from Area 51, but because there was a murder attached to it. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm gonna be honest. That's fucked up. And I'm going to tell you right now, you do not go to another podcast and hear somebody say that is fucked up. You only hear it on UFO Buster Radio. Go ahead. Stop the fucking podcast. Go to somewhere else. Go to Beyond Reality. Go to fucking Coast to Coast. Listen to them. You will not hear the words, that is fucked up. You won't. You won't. Because they want listeners. They want people who listen to advertisers. They want people who will buy their merch. Hashtag no fucks given. And so I'm sitting here right now and I'm saying, God damn, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 3 years? Really? What am I doing? And yes, Ron, I reach out to people in the BBC. I listen to people in Ireland, Australia, Japan, South Africa. And they all say the same thing. Manny Moonraker, what the hell is going on? Where is ufology going? We have year after year, day after day of UFOs being reported, but yet, fucking podcasts. All they want to do is sell books. They want to sell people talking about their experiences, which they made up from other people's experiences. I don't get it. And this is why I'm on tonight. The night before Easter. I'm here talking to you guys on an open mic. So if you want to call in, 972-290-1329. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here because basically it depends on my battery. Because I've got it plugged in, but shit's going to run out. I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want you to think that I'm going to judge you in any way. Because the fact is, if you really think about it, if you really look back, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, the only people that I judge is the motherfuckers who be making money. Deuce Bigelow, the space gigolo. You know he's been making money on you guys. He's been making money on all the shit that you report. The funny thing is, the shit doesn't... It's Robert Bigelow, come on. The shit that you report doesn't even go to him. It starts with the U.S. government. He basically purchased the U.S. government. So all that you report doesn't go to Uncle Sam. It doesn't go to Trump. Trump doesn't sit there on his golden mic and say, hey, oh shit, you're fired. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go to him. No, actually, it bypasses Trump and it goes straight to Deuce Bigelow, the Space Gigolo, and his crew, which, if you guys have been listening for a while, you know that information goes to some fucked up server, which his own people who are employed by him don't even get to see it. The shit goes into a server and it does whatever the fuck it's going to do. What do you think it's going to do? The truth is that it's going to do whatever calculations he got from Skinwalker Ranch. It's going to figure out whatever the fuck Deuce Bigelow, the Space Gigolo, thinks it's going to solve the mystery of ufology. And then you got other people. You got other people like Elon Musk. Notice that these people have billions of fucking dollars. They have more money than you in your measly lives, and my measly life, could ever spend in a lifetime. What happens with that money? Guess what? It's none of your business. It's none of your business what they do. But I can guarantee you that these guys have so much information that will blow your mind. Recently, I reported that the so-called mystery UFO medal that was housed somewhere in Las Vegas, that was found by someone that we love to call Deuce Bigelow, the Space Gigolo, it's bullshit. And I actually have a call right now, so let's see who it is. Welcome to UFO Buster Radio. Who's calling? Ronnie, what's going on?
At 4 a.m. But it's fun now.
Ronnie, I thank you for calling today because you recently were on the show.
Yeah, I see where you're doing open lines. I was like, oh, wow, okay, we got you live. We got open lines. I had to call in and see what's going on.
Ronnie, I realized today that there's a problem in ufology.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and all the folks with the big money are running ufology.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing that I realized is that I don't know where UFO Buster Radio lands in all of this, because the truth of the matter is that we're it's almost like we have a cult following, don't you think?
Yeah, we kind of it's like we're the grassroots coming up, and I don't know, man. It's like they're bought and paid for by somebody, and it's like I don't know, man. I'm going to some of these UFO conferences, and it's the same old people saying the same old shit they've been saying for 20 years. And my God, man, it's just if that's what ufology is, it's just sad, man, because there's so many people seeing so many things, and yet we're not talking about that. We're talking about shit that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. So here's the thing. If you want to have big ass fucking hair and talk about Asian aliens, I'm okay with that. Right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what's his name? Stockles, whatever the fuck his name is. If he wants to talk about ancient aliens, I'm okay with that, because the fact is that we, you, me, Big O, and anybody else that's been on the podcast has been basically, when we talk about time, a drop. So, I mean, I get it. There could be ancient aliens, don't you think, Rodney?
Yeah, I know. It's like they get sweep us under the rug. They don't care about our opinions. They don't care what we see. They don't care what we hear. They don't care what we think. And we're nobody. Yeah, you know, that's the way they feel. We're nobody in ufology. You know, nothing. So it doesn't matter what we think. They're going to block us from publicity. And I know, man, you've been doing everything right. You're doing everything you should be doing, and you should be growing a hell of a following. And it's hard to get the following because, I don't know, you're not getting the TV, you're not getting the advertisement. It's like, you know, I don't know what it takes to get to those places and you know, to where you get the public's attention. It's hard to get the public's attention. You know, the public's attention is bought, paid for by so many corporations and stuff that you just can't. A normal person can't do it anymore. You know, it's almost impossible.
I agree, but I think we need to build a coalition. I think that we need to bring folks like Ron, who is in the BBC. Ron, I need you to join yourself. I need you to join your friends, your family, and everybody else, and of course, Ronnie, and join me. And the fact is that we need to stop. We need to just sit back and take a second. Just sit back and sit a second and talk about UFOs. What the fuck is a UFO? It's shit that you don't know, you don't recognize. But a lot of times, really, if you sit around and think about what the fuck is a UFO, you've been in a UFO as people explain it. As the government explains it, you've been in a UFO. You've flown to Tahiti. You've flown to South Africa. You've flown to Ireland. You've flown to Mexico. Guess what? Stop fucking around. You know what a UFO is, and you're able to say, no, check, that's not it. That's a damn United Airlines airplane. You know what it is. You've been in it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what's not a UFO. That's what
Right.
we need to talk about. That's the issue at hand. And a lot of people get that confused because people like Rubber Dickers, Paradolia, Pete, Scott Waring get you confused.
Yeah. And, you know, Jim Marlowe was talking one time, you know, he was talking about it, said he's got a range. He said, we ought to just do our own UFO conference. And I was like, man, that would be the most awesome deal. You get to talk to some real experiencers and bring forth right there at the conference, have some real alien metal. I mean, Deuce Bigelow, the space gigolo, can't come up with no alien metal. You know, even though the government give them $22 million. And what did we hear the other day? That they said it existed, and then all of a sudden now it doesn't exist, or what's the story on that, man?
Exactly. People are saying that these metals from UFOs don't even exist. Fuck Las Vegas. Fuck Deuce Bigelow, the bass gigolo. None of that exists. Somebody made that shit up, and just to glorify the ATIP situation, because apparently even the ATIP situation was made to be bigger than what it was. Where does that leave Elizondo? But that's the thing, Rodney. That's the thing. Why are we believing in these false, and I've said this about 2 years ago, false gods of ufology? That's what we're following right now.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. But Jim Marlin's got some alien metal at his house, man, and they can't find any. They scoured the earth and they can't find any. But this guy's got some in his living room. It can't be that hard to find alien metal out there. And the thing is, nobody's contacted me. Nobody's contacted Jim wanting to research this alien metal that he has. And if these guys are really serious about finding physical alien evidence, then they would have contacted us, right? Because I've got it all over YouTube. It's out there. The word is out there that we've got some alien metal, but yet nobody's interested in it.
Yeah, there's just no way around it. I don't understand what the hell is going on, because you look at some of the most profound UFO incidents, and some people should look at Ronnie Dawson. Yeah, but if you look at what happened in Arizona, if you look about constantly Arizona, there's things happening there all the time. People getting abducted, lights over the airport, and they can't be explained. The freaking mayor not being able to explain it. His his assistant, fucking trying to joke around about shit. But the truth is, no one can explain it. There's got to be a reason. And the thing is, if you look at New Fork, and when you're talking about the Phoenix Lights, you look at New Fork for days before, days after, there is incidents, one after another, sites being reported, and yet nothing.
Yeah. And MUFON is really good at cataloging sightings, but as far as their investigation goes, they don't really take any effort into investigating what happened and what occurred. They just catalog the sighting, and then it makes everyone who's seen whatever they've seen feel like there's somebody doing something about it. But the truth is about MUFON, I haven't. Maybe they may be different in other states, but I bet you I have filed half a dozen sighting reports, and very few of them have even got followed up on. And it's like they ask me, "What's the case number?" They've never even given me a case number. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how it works. But anyway, so I don't know what to think about that.
That's why I'm here, Rodney, today, because I actually was trying to get an interview with Donnie Brooke, the ex-professional wrestler who turned UFO researcher tomorrow, but tomorrow's Easter, so he wasn't able to make it, so we might make it next weekend, and I don't blame him for that. People have to celebrate their regular lives. Every day, we need to live our lives, because ufology, it's kind of like an extra, you have to live your life, basically, no matter how short it is in the span of the universe. you gotta live your life, right, Rodney?
Well, I live here. I live here in the same house where the alien invasion took place. I had these little alien guys running through my house at one point. I didn't move out. I didn't go crazy. I have to live here. This is my home, man. And even though I seen ET in my house, that don't mean that I had to go crazy. That don't mean I had to move out. I had to deal with it. And that's what happens when you have a UFO sighting. You have to deal with it. It's like you can't just go crazy. And it's like I've seen some crazy stuff. I went out there and almost got abducted while I was working nights, but I had to go back to work. Because it doesn't matter if you see a UFO. It doesn't matter if aliens run around your house. If I don't pay the electric bill, they shut the electricity off. They don't give a damn that aliens chase me around my house. They don't care. They're still going to shut my electricity off if I don't pay the bill. I pay the bill by working. So, I still live here in the same house where all that stuff took place. I've seen crazy stuff here at my house, but I still live here, and I've had to deal with it. It's made me a better person. It's made me a stronger person. It's made me more open-minded to what's going on out there in the world, and able to deal with it. I'm not now. I don't just automatically when I've seen what I've seen and done and been the places I've been. Now it doesn't scare me quite as bad. It still scares the hell out of me, but not quite as bad as it used to.
Ronnie, it's funny you say that because here's Ron. And number one, we're live on Spreaker.com. And if you want to find us, UFO Buster Radio, you just got to look for it. And Ron is in the chat right now. And he says when he was 10, he actually saw a cigar-shaped UFO when in Calgary when he was in the shopping cart at a grocery store. Are you fucking serious? I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people think that this is a United States thing. It is not. When I tell you that UFO Buster Radio is listened to not only in America, it's listened to in Australia, it's listened to in Africa, Japan, and Turkey, USSR. It's listened to everywhere because people everywhere have this experience. Ireland, UK, you're all there. The question is, how do we beat this? How do we get away from the bullshit as FOIA? I mean, you submit a FOIA and everything gets blacked the fuck out. It's not going to help you. Isn't that right, Ronnie?
Yeah, it's, the crazy, the thing is, it's like, I don't know why they're keeping such, there's no telling what kind of technology we have, but we can't talk about it because it's a national, it's our national interest is to keep it a secret, and we don't want everybody else knowing what kind of technology we got, but we can't talk about the technology we got. And so we don't know where we stand, we don't know if it's us, if it's them, I seen a V-shape have, mile-long craft. Each half of the V was a half mile long. It flew into U.S. airspace right near Coleman, Texas, and I watched this thing fly over my head and then bank off and then bank back. And I seen it looked like solid rock on the bottom with the city embedded on the surface. And it flew around over north central Texas for probably about 2 or 3 minutes. And I filed an FAA low craft report. And they told me that all aircraft in the area were accounted for, and I should report my UFO to MUFON, or to Newfork, I mean. And it was like, they didn't say anything like, well, it's really strange that a craft of that size would be flying in the U.S. airspace. It didn't make the news and nothing. And it was like, now, come on. Now, if you're going to let a half-mile craft fly around over north central Texas and you're not that concerned about it, either you know who they are, or you realize they're here there and there's nothing you can do about it, So it's just a mystery to me as to how it's like, well, what is, and all of a sudden I was checking up on the radar information. I said, man, there's like 3 major radars within 100 miles. And I'm like, I want to get some of this radar data and look at it. Well, I had a guy undercover for me. He was going to check out the Abilene Regional Airport radar of that day, of that night, that time. And when he tried to go in there, into the storage to look at that time frame, he couldn't access it. It was like the one day that he couldn't access. It was like, I don't know if it was because of the low craft report I had filed or whatever, and it was under review, but this is one of the files that he couldn't access. And, I find that very strange. Is that what they're doing? Is that when there's somebody who sees a UFO, or are they like, they're not letting anyone look at that, or what's the deal with that? I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a mystery. It's a mystery, Ronnie. And just to clarify, Ron says that basically his mom, because it's the UK, his mom said that told him what was happening. And he was 3 at the time when he was sitting in the car, and she clarified it for him when he was 10. Ron, the thing is that you are basically the poster child for ufology. You're the one who sits there and someone else tells you what the fuck you saw. But right now, Ron, you're sitting around and you're wondering, what did you see? What were you a part of? Yeah. And Ron, I just want to say this. I don't want you to get your feelings hurt or whatever, but I thank you for listening to UFO Buster Radio. We're here to talk about these things all the time. That's why we have Ronnie Dawson. Ronnie Dawson is a few hours away from me. And I'm telling you, Ronnie, I think that we need to put your story in a video. We need to tell your story from beginning to end. Fuck the Japanese. The Japanese put your story together in a news report. Fuck them. We need to put the whole story from beginning to end in the video. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I'm just shocked that I can't. When I contacted people and said, "Hey, look, man, I had a mile-long craft fly over my head, and I caught 15 seconds of footage of it. Are you interested in helping me research this?" I called several major universities and never got a call back. I called Fox, CNN, all these guys. Nobody ever returned my call. And it's like, now come on. Now surely, I can't imagine, and people wonder why we don't know anything about UFOs. It's because we ain't even looking. We're like the ostrich that's sticking his head in the sand. Every time somebody tells you, man, I've seen something, I got some pictures of it, we don't even care to even look at the pictures. We don't even care to talk about it. And now that we know that there's all these planets and all these exoplanets and everything else, and it's 1,000 times more likely that there's intelligent life in the universe than there was just a few years ago. Everybody still just sticks their head in the sand and like, well, they'll never get here. Like, the hell they're hitting. Hell, they're not. They're here already. They've been here. They're flying around. All you have to do is go out in the nighttime sky and look around. You're going to see stuff that you can't completely explain. And I'm pretty sure it ain't up.
Yeah, and you're like, it's hard to say, but you are a symptom of what's happening in ufology, right? Because we have Ron out of the blue. I don't even know Ron. I know Ronnie. I don't know Ron. Ron is saying, "Oh shit! Guess what? When I was a little tyke, guess what? We saw a craft." And the thing is that you are basically, Ron, telling us what thousands, even millions of people have been saying. And you know what? Guess what? You're not being heard. You're not being heard in any facet or way. No one is listening to you, Ron. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And you know what? You get shows like Coast to Coast. Listen, I love Coast to Coast. I used to sit in my car after work and listen to Coast to Coast. I did. I used to listen to them. This is why the fuck I'm here now as Manny Moonraker. That's why I'm here now. I'm listening to folks on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, talking about how they've seen all these unidentified crafts and no one is listening to them. But guess what? Manny Moonraker is here. I'm here. I'm listening to you, and I want to hear your story.
Yeah.
And Manny says, wait, Ron is saying that Coast to Coast sucks. Yeah, it sucks. You know why? Because they were selling fucking books. They were selling people who wanted to listen to them at the other side of wherever fuck they were, on the other side of the mountains, that they wanted. It was all about selling advertisement, to be honest. And there was a point where they were true to what they were saying, but then it became about surviving. It became about keeping Coast to Coast alive. And I'm going to be the first one to say that. What do you think, Ronnie? Do you think that that's what happened with Coast to Coast?
I was at home one day and I got a call and the voice sounded familiar. I'm like, man, I've heard it. It was Art Bell. And Art Bell said, yeah, I just got wind of your story. And I said, we got to get you on the show. I said, I'll talk to George Norrie and he'll be giving you a call. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll be interested. Yeah, just, give me a call back. But nobody ever called. And then one time, a little bit later, George Norrie called and said, oh yeah. I said, we've heard about your story and everything, and we think you'd be great be a great guest on the show if you'd be interested. I'm going, yeah, I'm interested. And I said, just give me a time and give me a day, and I'll be there, And they said, we'll get back with you. Never heard anything again. They just vanished. I never heard anything again from either one of them.
See, and there you go. That's a perfect example. Because let me tell you, I would leave, and I'm not gonna afraid to lie. At the time, I was listening. I was in Florida, and I was working at a warehouse overnight, and I would listen to George Bell every fucking night. I would, because that would keep my ass awake, you know. And I would listen to all these UFO stories. And Ron is right. Ron is right, because sadly, when George Noory came on the scene, it seemed to suck. It sucked gigantic penises. And I'm going to say it because I'm Manny Moonraker. I don't give a fuck. It did.
Yeah.
It sucked gigantic penises because it never, after George Noory came on, it never seemed to help me in any way when it came to ufology. And Ronnie, what you're saying is 100% true. It was all about selling people.
And some of the shows I've done, I don't mind. I did a show recently, and I had 4 people grilling me on my experience. And see, I love that. I love that because this really happened. This is not something I made up. So I have thought about and worked out in my head every aspect of the sighting. So there's no surprises, there's no angles they could throw at me that I hadn't covered in my own brain, trying to wrap my own mind around what just happened. So I'm not afraid of these off the wall questions that people throw at me. And I enjoy it because, sometimes they hit that spot where I was thinking too, when, like I said, there was one night I woke up here in this bed and there was a white cloud over the bed and the light was on in the bedroom. My wife was fixing to come to bed and there's a cloud of smoke over my bed. And I was fixing to go to bed waiting on my wife to come back and turn the light out, open my eyes and the smoke over the bed. And then I thought, well, something's on fire. I'm fixing to get up and go check it out. And then all of a sudden it just took off and shot through the wall. This is the kind of stuff that I'm seeing here at my house. Now, it doesn't happen a lot. It's only happened. I caught some stuff on video. I've seen that once. So I've seen this thing about 3 different times in about 3 years. So it doesn't happen a lot, but I know it does happen. And to see something like that, and then my wife walks in the room, and I'm like, you wouldn't believe what I just saw. And I understand she's skeptical. She's going to look at you like, right, because I don't see anything in here. Well, you wasn't here about 3 minutes ago, or you would have seen it too. And in my experience, I was like, okay, now I know. I even felt to the wall to see if the wall was moist after it shot through the wall. I wanted to feel if it changed the temperature of the wall that it just went through. So I want to investigate what the hell this is. I want to find out myself. But at the same time, I cover the angles like that. I just imagine that. Am I really awake? What's going on here? I approach everything with a healthy degree of skepticism. I'm not hallucinating. I'm not making shit up. And I have to explain it to myself. And, and I don't mind people asking questions, because I've already played all the angles through in my mind before I ever was going to say anything to anyone, because I know, man, I've dealt with so many skeptics that, what about this? Maybe you just dreamed it all, Well, there's certain reasons that I know I didn't dream it. Like if I would have dreamed it, I wouldn't have never said anything. But like when the aliens pulled me out of my sleeping body and we had a conversation and they put me back in my body, and then I immediately woke up, the lighting of the room was identical to the way it was just a few minutes earlier. Now, I couldn't have been asleep and knew what the lighting in the room looked like. And then when I walked through the picture on the wall, the glass hit my face. I checked it out. Yes, the glass would hit my face if I walked through that wall. I knew that when I walked through the wall, a stud went through my right shoulder. I checked it out, and sure enough, right there where the stud would have went through my shoulder, inside the wall, with the stud finder, I located a stud. And I'm like, okay, so this has probably really happened. And they told me, I said, right before I jumped my body, I talked to ET, and I told him, I said, I'm probably not going to remember any of this. And they said, you'll remember everything. You'll remember everything that happened here because this is an alternate reality. It's not a sleep state. And they said, when the people of your world meet the people of our world in this place, they will remember the conversation perfectly. They will not forget anything. They'll remember everything because this is an alternate reality, not a sleep state.
So here's my question, Ronnie, because I've been dealing with so I had Sawyer on here, Heaven's Gate member, got out before the mass suicide. And I've been thinking about, where does UFO Buster Radio fit in all of this? Because you have T and Doe, who basically took maybe, 40 some odd people and convinced them that if they died, they could be greater than being human. And then on the other side, I think about here we have like Ronnie Dawson, we have other people, we have Byron Lacey, we have all these people that have come on the podcast to talk about their experiences. But, where is UFO Buster Radio in all of that? Is it really about selling books? Is it really about selling their experience? I feel like we should be more than that.
Yeah, it's about getting to the truth. And when I heard that, I heard Sawyer on his interview there, and when I first heard about the cult, the Heaven's Gate cult, I thought, man, these guys are crazy, they're nuts. But after my experience, when those aliens pulled me out of my sleeping body, and I stood there and I looked and I could see my own hands, and I could move and I could walk and I could have conversation. And I could form ideas and thoughts, and I could speak them. And I had a body that I could move around with that wasn't attached to that human flesh, skin suit laying in the bed. Then I realized that, that Heaven's Gate cult, that is not as far-fetched as I had previously thought. Because here I am, I've gone to this place that they said that they were going to, and I'm talking to some ET in this place. And I can guarantee you they were real ETs. They weren't from around here. They weren't ghosts. And so after I went through that experience, now I'm looking at this Heaven's Gate thing with a whole new thing. You know what? That may not have been some bullshit there, because these guys may have known what was going on. Because I tell you what, when you leave your body,
God bless America, Ronnie. You are absolutely right. I have the same freaking epiphany, I guess, would you say? And here's the thing. So I've been talking about to people basically who listened, and there's people in my personal life who know who I am and who know what I do, and we basically talk about what the heck is going on with Sawyer and Heaven's Gate. And the thing is, Sawyer himself was so dedicated to Heaven's Gate. Now, was he 100%, 1,000% dedicated? No, he knew that basically there were some human faults that he could not bypass. He was human to a fault, and he had to do some things. There were some things where he was like, "Fuck it, listen, T and Doe, I can't do it. Let me hang out with your internet people. Let me run the website because I can't sacrifice myself that much." And yeah, it was masturbation. Well, fuck it. You're human. You have to masturbate. Fuck it. All right. Okay, that's good. But the thing is that even the simplest thing, he still today, when you listen to Sawyer in that interview, he holds true to what T and Doe were saying, and that's my thing. That if people listen to the core of ufology, fuck the Greers, fuck the third phase of Boone, fuck all these fucking guys who want to make money off your clickbait. If you listen to the core of what people are saying, like Ronnie, who is true to his story. Like Ronnie, I got to tell you, I've never heard you deviate from your story, not one time. Not one time.
It's I've been telling that story so many different radio shows, and it's the same way every time because that's the story. I can't alternate. I can't change it, can't enhance it. That's the way it happened. I can tell it different. I might be able to tell it in a way that's more believable, but I wish I could. But the thing is, I understand where Sawyer came from because Sawyer had studied that stuff, but he had never been pulled out of his physical body and got to see the places they were trying to go to, or maybe he would have stuck with it. And you could almost tell that he was sincere about what he learned there and what they were teaching there, or he wouldn't have hung around so long. But there are certain things about, this, the ET didn't tell me all the stuff that they were telling him, so I don't know exactly where that information come from, as far as T and O, I don't know where they got their experience from to share what they shared, but nothing like that was ever shared with me in such great detail and telling people to go out and preach it to anyone here. No, nothing like that. Now, I pulled in my physical body, and I had an experience outside my body, and I learned things, and I seen things, and I conversated with these guys, but they never went to those kind of things to telling me I needed to do all this kind of stuff. But I understand where sorry to jump from. If you hadn't experienced what it's like to be outside your physical body, you may not just want to commit mass suicide to find out for sure unless you really knew. Luckily, I found out that you don't have to kill yourself to get there. These guys pulled me out of my body. It wasn't easy. They had to wrestle me out of my body. And once they wrestled me out of my body, then I realized that there is something to it. You know, it's not just make believe, man. I was there. I've seen it. I've experienced it. And once you're there, you can say, hey.
Ron says that he listens to Fade to Black and that they're the fun guys, and he listens to them, after on Spreaker. We Skype after 1 a.m. But what's the issue with Fade to Black? And here's the thing. I'm gonna let Ronnie answer this. What's wrong with Fade to Black?
Well, Fade to Black, I don't know. I kind of get the same thing. You know, I was down at Roswell, and I was talking to a bunch of the UFO experiencers that I had met and made friends with down there, and they said, oh, I did Fade to Black. And then I talked to Mo, and he said, oh, I did Fade to Black. Well, I'm kind of pissed off because Fade to Black hadn't asked me to be on their show. You know, it's like, why? Ain't I good enough to be on Fade to Black? And then it's kind of the same with Spaced Out Radio. And then I try to listen to some of those shows, man, and it's like the same people saying the same stuff over and over again. It's almost like they have a schedule of people that they put on there every year. And I don't know, man. It just kills me. It's just the same old stuff, and it's just boring me to tears, I guess, because I've heard it before. Now, it was pretty interesting the first time around. And every now and then they do come up with some interesting guests like David Adair. I love his story, man. I don't know. I hadn't, I don't know where he came from, and all of a sudden I heard the David Adair story, and that is absolutely fascinating. If you've never checked that out, it's worth it. But then I found out that David Adair, that was the first time that he was asked on Fade to Black. So I'm like, so I don't know. But they keep bringing on these authors that write these sci-fi books, and they've never really seen a UFO, never had a UFO experience, but they're going to sit there and talk for 2 hours about writing a book about. Oh man, I can't do it. I can't hang in there,
And that's my point. Listen, I like Fade to Black. A lot of times I listen to the host, but a lot of times, 15, 20 minutes in, I get the coast-to-coast feeling. I get that, on the other side of the, whatever fucking mountains, on the other side of this fucking line. No, I don't want to hear any of that. I just want to hear a true story. I don't want to hear about people's research. I want to hear about books. I want you to tell me what the fuck you experienced, when you experienced it. If you want to get technical, tell me where exactly those longitude lines were at. Tell me exactly when you experienced it, what the time was, how long it lasted. But Fade to Black, it's fantastic. It is. But it's a podcast version of Coast to Coast. Don't you think, Rodney?
Yeah, and there's so much advertisement and stuff. It's like, we're going to sell you some coffee. We want you, we're going to say there's so much advertising and stuff in there. And it's like, man, oh my God. Yeah. Everybody's just advertising the hell out of every damn thing. And then, and a lot of times I'm just disappointed in, I don't know, they do some of the open lines is just a, hey, it's good to hear from you again. Oh, right. Yeah, it's great. Love your show. Nice talking to you again. All right. Come on. Where's the paranormal? Where's the paranormal at? I'm like you. I'm hungry for some new stories. I'm hungry to hear some people who had real encounters, and not that, Oh man, yeah. I want to hear some good stuff like Art Bell used to bring up. Catch some people who really had an experience. Let's get them on the radio on top of that.
Yeah, Ronnie, you're absolutely right. And the thing is that we're not getting that. And, and when you see stories like the one I talked about last week, where all of a sudden they so-called, alien alloys that are hidden in Las Vegas by Deuce Bigelow, the Space Gigolo, turn out to be fake, those are the kind of things that we need to talk about. Now, is that a fake story? It probably is, or it might not. But the truth is that we need to discover that. We need to talk about it. We need to get to people who know, and we're not getting that. So at the moment, we have Ronnie Dawson on, and we have Ron in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and play a little song to get everyone situated, because the number is 972-290-1329 or at bosscrawler on Skype. And you should call in because we're going to play Skyfall right now. But we'll be back in about 2 minutes. And thank you for listening. Hey, welcome back to Ufology Radio. Manny Moonraker, and I'm on with my out of the blue special guest, Ronnie Dawson. Ronnie, we're talking about your story basically, and we talked to Ron's on here on the live chat. Ron, thank you for being part of us, and he's actually checking out. He says, "See y'all laters." But, we have shows like Coast to Coast. We have Fade to Black and things like that, where they, in short terms, they glorify ufology without any follow-up or good proof afterwards. What's the problem with that?
Well, I don't know, man. It's, the people they focus on the people who are in the limelight of ufology, and granted, they had their moment. Granted, they had their time in the light. I mean, they had a good story. They had a reason to be there. But my God, it's 20 years later, and they're still in the light. They're still doing conference talks on the same old shit that they've been talking about for 20 years. And granted, it's good, worthy, knowledgeable stuff. And it's just new people coming to ufology, but there's also people out there who are having encounters and who are seeing things and who are having experiences. And these people, nobody's talking to them. We're just going to focus on the people, the names that everybody knows. And it's like nobody wants to go hear somebody who's had an interesting experience as opposed to somebody who used to work for the government, and retired. And,
no, that's
really true. Seen some papers on the UFO, yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Ron just said Coast to Coast is regular on radio, 3-hour show, but with 1 hour of ads. Oh, you serious? You know how much shit I get for only playing 2 ads in the middle of the podcast? Are you fucking kidding me? And Ron says it's an hour of freaking ads. And again, it's about selling and making some money in ufology. And I'm going to be honest, I've told people time and time again, the only time you hear ads in my podcast is because I need to pay for the server. You have no idea how much it costs to save podcasts on the server because it's an audio file. Imagine if I had video. Holy shit, how expensive that would be. But the thing is that all I ask for people is just listen to the podcast. That's all you got to do. Share it. That's all you got to do. You know, if you're talking to your grandpa or your grandma, just tell them, hey, you know about UFOs. I got this guy, Manny Woolraker, who takes a different fucking take on it. He's not the same old coast to coast bullshit. He's not the same old fade to black bullshit. He's saying, talk about it and don't fall into the commercial nonsense. Don't fall into the BS of the past. Just go ahead and talk about it like somebody that he knows, the super sapien, Ronnie Dawson.
Right. Yes. And it's a breath of fresh air to the UFO community that we can do something besides go to the same old stuff and listen to the same old people talking about the same old thing again and again and again. And like I said, we can get out there and find out. I mean, if you're having some experience, give us a call. You don't want to call anybody else. Trust me. You're just wasting your breath because they don't care if you don't have a book. And you don't have, like I said, if you're not at conferences and you're not speaking and you're just having experience, there's nobody out there really interested in your story. Sadly, that's the way it's true. And I think we're being lied to really because, I was, in this To the Stars Academy group, they got this new Adam project where they're looking for alien metals, supposedly, right? Well, I contacted these guys, and I said, hey, man, I know it's an alien metal. I know how to get a hold of the guy who's in possession of it. I said, if you're really interested, give me a call back. Now, you think I've heard anything from these guys? I sent them a picture of the alien metal. And have they contacted me back? No, they have not. I haven't heard a word from them. So are they really looking for alien metal? No. They want you to think that they're looking for alien metal. Because, trust me, if they were really looking for alien metal, they would have contacted me back. Especially because I sent them the pictures, I sent them the video of the thing, and it's worthy of investigation. I can guarantee you, and no one is interested in it. I even called Deuce Bigelow, the space gigolo, and said, hey, man, if you're really looking for alien metal, give me a call. I can hook you up. Did they ever call me? No, I haven't heard a single word.
No, Roddy, you know why? Because they want to take the easy road out. They want someone who's already been out there for years, talking to the Elizondos, talking to the people who, coast to coast and all those guys, fade to black, who already have a following, people who are talking about them before they engage you in your story. And that's what it is. There is no payout for them. That's why they don't give a shit.
Right, yeah, Gaia is not going to come clean with no alien metal, and it's just disappointing, really, because, I had the hopes that they were really intending on researching the topic and researching the subject and letting us know what they find. I thought maybe they were going to spend millions of dollars actually researching UFOs and alien metals and then telling the public what they found, and nothing. And when I contacted those guys and asked them to call me back and showed them the pictures of what I got and give them the nature of what it's about, and they never got back with me, and it just tell me it's all a freaking lie. It's all a lie to make you think that they're looking for and researching alien metal. And it's sad because I'm hoping that somebody would come forward like that, like To the Stars Academy. They will sell the product. They want everybody to sign on, thinking that it's actually going to be somebody doing what we always hoped that someone would do, which is to actively investigate the truth and have enough money to research it properly and enough scientific backing that includes science. And because nobody ever contacted me back. And it's like if somebody if I was doing that and somebody contacted me and said, hey, I have some alien metal, I want you to take a look at it, I'd be at least talking to them, No, I never got anything back. So it's just it's really sad that that's where we're at in ufology.
Yeah, it's basically like what they call a double-edged sword. Basically, you're fucked if you do, and you're fucked if you don't. So basically, Ron is saying, hey, tonight at 10 p.m., you guys should join us, basically, on the show. Which one is it? Oh, on Spaced Out Radio. Ronnie, are you available tonight to join Spaced Out Radio and talk some shit?
Well, heck yeah, I am. But Spaced Out Radio don't want to talk to me. I've even sent my information to them before, and they never got back with me. I sent my information to Jimmy Church, a third Faded Black, and they never got back with me. So apparently they're not interested in talking to Ronnie Dawson.
And that's the thing.
I haven't sold enough books. I haven't sold enough books to get
exactly
get any kind of attention. Yeah,
nobody
wants to talk to somebody who's got an experience.
When Big O and I first started, we said it is a blue-collar podcast about UFO basically experiences and incidents, and we found out way early on that the blue-collar person does not have a voice. Doesn't have a voice. You need to bring a following to people like Spaced Out Radio and Jimmy Church. You need to bring a following to Coast in order to get some airtime. And Ronnie Dawson just told you, Ron. Ronnie Dawson just told you what is happening when it comes to Spaced Out Radio. Isn't that right, Ronnie?
Yeah, they're not interested. You heard my story. I got a pretty amazing story, and it's a lengthy story, and I've talked for 3 hours about it in detail. But that's apparently not what they're looking for. That's not what they're interested in. And so it makes me question, what the hell are they interested in? They're interested in people who are selling books. They're interested in people who are getting invited to these UFO conferences. And they're interested in the people that are in the public eye, and I'm not there yet. I'm not where I need to be invited on these kind of shows, So I've done some smaller shows and stuff like that, but I don't know what it takes to get on the bigger shows like that. And really, I'm not sure I want to be.
Well, I think that a lot of things that I've been planning for UFO Buster Radio for this year, every year I talk about what's going to happen to UFO Buster Radio. Is it going to end? Is it going to, just fade away? And the thing is that there's an interest to UFO Buster Radio that's been consistently growing, even though we don't put ads, we don't hook up with the major names in ufology, but we're consistently growing throughout the U.S., and not only the U.S., throughout different countries in the world. And I think that one of the things that I want to focus on is the Ronnie Dawson story, and I think this is the year to do it, Ronnie. I've asked you before, Ronnie, do we need to put your story forefront and first in the face of people, so that way they understand that the UFO thing is not a thing that happens on a History Channel. It's not a thing that happens to people that end up in books and history. It's not a thing that happens on Jimmy Church's show. It's not a thing that happens at Coast to Coast, but it happens to regular blue-collar folks like you.
And I think I have enough material and a good enough story that I think, I think we're going to have to put it into a documentary and shove it down their throats to where they have to watch it and they can't deny it. And we'll put the pieces together and we can shove it down their throat and rock their world, because some of the stuff that I've recorded is like, I've had these MUFON people trying to tell me that what I've recorded is a secret, like a U.S. military secret project, secret black op projects. And I'm like, the stuff that I've seen on some of the video and stuff that I analyzed and I've extracted, zoomed in on certain parts of the craft, this thing doesn't like a human hand ever touched it anywhere. So I'm not buying it. This is not secret space program, black ops, none of that stuff. This stuff comes from somewhere else. We don't have the technology to fly rocks around. We do not. we may have some anti-gravity technology, but I guarantee you we can't fly a rock the size that these guys were flying over the ground like they did, quietly and at the speed of a jet. No. This is technology from somewhere else. And yeah, I would love to put my stuff in a documentary and shove it down their throat. And I think that's the only way to really get the kind of a media attention that is going to be required to get the story out. Because I've been doing everything I can, done a little bit of TV, done a little bit of radio, and it's just nobody knows who I am. Still to this day, nobody knows who I am. So I think making a documentary and putting it together and putting it out there. Of course, they may just the way they just control the media attention. That's what they do. They control the stuff they don't want people to see. They have a way of not letting it be seen. It doesn't appear in the search engines on the internet. They have a way of hushing it. And then they have a way, one of the things they've done to me is they spam the hell out of me. I get phone calls all day long from all sorts of people, man. It's like somebody's just put my phone number out there and just giving my number out to anybody trying to sell anything. So I just get, no telling how many spam calls I get every day. And it's the same way with my emails. I've lost computers. I've lost emails. And the other day I had people ordering stuff from my Walmart account. Man, they know how to make your life hell, and they're good at it. And that's the way they get you, Manny.
No, it's absolutely true. And then people are basically trolls. Trolls will destroy you every way that they can, and they'll do everything possible to make your life miserable. But the thing is, for folks like Ronnie, like Byron Lacey, like even folks that are historically known in ufology, a lot of times you need to step aside. You need to step aside and forget about the money you're going to earn from your books, the money you're going to earn from conferences. Come on, people all the time complain about the conference money ain't shit. It's not paying you a damn thing. How about maybe you look about your legacy? Look about what the information you're going to leave behind for generations to come. How about that? How about the fact that you could be known as the individual that knew the truth, that was part of the experience, that knew what was going to happen in the future? How about that information? How about leaving that footprint in those generations to come? Because the fact is that there is no disclosure. No, disclosure is not going to happen. You guys who think about disclosure is going to happen, you guys are 4.2 far fucked, because disclosure is going to happen whenever the fuck the government feels like it needs to be. And it's quite a few years, a few decades away from now. And even then, when that happens, people are still going to have UFO experiences. People are still going to see things. People are still going to get abducted. People are still going to find all this madness going on. And, we're talking about 20, 30 years down the line, because you know what? Disclosure is a really slow path that only happens within our own solar system. It's not going to happen at Proxima Centauri. No, fuck no. It's going to happen. Disclosure is only going to happen in our solar system. That's the only way it's going to happen. It's going to happen about, Elon Musk landing on Mars and finding that he has like a fucking amoeba on the bottom of his shoe. That's how it's going to happen. It's not going to happen any other way, folks. Wake the fuck up. And Ronnie knows that. Ronnie knows he's had experiences way beyond what anyone can tell him is true. But if you listen to NASA, you listen to the government, all their information is telling you, no. We're going to send basically a drone in a few years over to Mars to fly around and look for the signs of life. Are you fucking serious? That's not going to help you. That's not going to help me. That's not going to help Ronnie Dawson. Or that's not going to help Ron or anybody else that's had a UFO experience. Ain't that right, Ronnie?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I wrote it. And when I wrote my ebook, I didn't write it to get rich. I knew that probably no one would ever read it, but I wrote it so I'd have a historical record. I was at the point where if you killed a man, you killed the story. So it was like an insurance policy. It was like, if something happens to me, the story's still there in writing. And I feel I can sleep a whole lot better at night. And I tell you what, a lot of the weird stuff that was happening to me stopped after I put the book out. It was like, now if somebody takes me out, the book's going to get more popular. So yeah, the book was like an insurance policy, and I've never really tried to sell the book. I've never promoted the book. It's there for anybody who wants to read it. But yeah, I haven't went out there trying to sell the thing. But if something happened to me, there's my story there. It's going to be there forever, long after I'm gone. And that's great. That's a great thing to have. And if you've ever had an encounter, I suggest you do something like that. Put it in paper. And Yvonne Smith, a famous regression therapist who did Whitley Strieber out there, when I talked to her at Roswell last July, she said, draw a sketch. If you couldn't get a picture, draw a sketch of what you saw. Just the best artistry you can draw, and just draw a sketch of what you saw and explain what you saw. That way, it's like a sketch picture of what you've seen that night, even if you didn't have a camera with you.
It's still a story. You know what, Ronnie? You said Whitley Strieber. Whitley Strieber is one of the biggest names in ufology. Isn't that right?
That's right. Right.
I mean,
he just happens to be an author.
The guys who were putting a film together. If you look at the podcast, I interviewed the actors, I interviewed the producer, the director, and all they talked about was Whitley Strieber. Whitley Strieber did this. Whitley Strieber did that. Guess what? Whitley Strieber apparently sold your film, but Whitley Strieber ain't sold shit for us because there's nothing. Ufology has not moved forward just because of Whitley Strieber.
Right. Yeah, that's just another. And I always thought it was kind of funny how, he just happens to be a struggling author, and then he has this fantastic encounter. It's like, you're a struggling author, and then you have this fantastic encounter, and then all of a sudden you get thrown into ufology, and you're the king of ufology for a while. And it's like, maybe you're just a struggling author who told a lie to sell some books, possibly. Maybe that's the answer.
Exactly. And that is the flavor of the month, basically, is what it comes out to be, Ronnie. Basically, the flavor of the month was Whitley Strieber. So let's all talk about Whitley Strieber and the work that's been produced and what they talk about and blah, blah, blah. Let's make it into film. Let's make it into short stories. Let's make it into short films. Put it into a contest or two. But at the end of the day, folks like Ronnie and everyone else that has an experience gets zilch, because the conversation never moves forward. And that's where I struggle with UFO Buster Radio, because a lot of times I said in the beginning, it's about the blue collar person moving the story forward. And, it's not moving forward. We got people like Mr. X Blake 182, Tom DeLonge, moving the story forward, but without really anything to move it forward with, other than the fact that he's a popular guy.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope those guys would come through for us, but I'm just I find out now they're not really doing what they said they're doing. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring something new. They'll come forth with some of this alien metal. I really doubt it. I don't think they're really looking. They're really not seriously looking for alien metal. Either that, or they've got so much of it they don't even know what to do with it. So I guess we're going to find out. But I'm disappointed in ufology altogether. I don't know what to think, man. It's just disappointing. We got to do something different. I'm with you, Manny. We got to do something different. What we're doing ain't working. Maybe we need to have a 1 million man march on Area 51 or something like that. I don't know what. But what we're doing now isn't working. We're not putting enough pressure on the government to tell us the truth about what's going on. The fact that the military has come clean on some of the video that they've had. Elizondo basically stole it, right, from the government and then released it, and hoping, in hopes that it would make millions of dollars for them. I think had to be some reason behind it, and I don't know. But the thing is, I really thought, man, something would come of that. It is pretty amazing. You got jets targeting UFOs, and we had a idea that this was happening, and now we got military footage that it's been happening. But yet, when I talk to the people on the street, Manny, nobody knows anything about that. I said, what do you think about the UFO encounter, the jets and from the Nimitz, Did y'all see that? The Go Fast video, did y'all see it? No. I talked to some guys the other day, nobody knew. I talked to 3 different people, and none of them knew anything about it. I said, wow, are you guys not watching? I think they've got us programmed where we don't watch the news anymore. The news is just, nobody's watching it. Nobody's paying attention to it. And I think that was just a test to see. Let's throw some UFO stuff in on the news, and we're going to see if people are really watching the news. And they released some UFO stuff on the news, and nobody even saw it. Nobody knows anything about it. The people on the street don't know anything about the UFO encounter off the Nimitz, Nothing. Shocking.
Well, here's the thing.
Shocking.
Here's the thing that I've said from the beginning is that UFOs, ufology, and all that kind of stuff is beyond the realm of everyday life. So you really do have to step out of your everyday life to sit back and investigate what's going on. You have to really think that it's important, the fact that there are things flying over your head that your own government has no idea what the hell it is. And the fact that your government thinks that it's another government, which they know, truthfully, has not the technology or the ability to create such technology, to think that someone else, earthly, would be doing it. And that's the problem, right? Because we get caught up in all this nonsense about, it's Russia against the U.S., it's Russia against the U.K., it's the U.K. against the world, it's South Africa is coming up. Oh, yeah, Afghanistan, the Middle East, the Arabs are coming up. It's not that. If you take your superpowers, and your superpowers have no fucking clue what the hell is in your air, what the hell is flying over you, what is flying through Utah, where freaking documentary video people are sitting around with a drone and look at something and think, oh shit, what the fuck is that? Then it's not your superpowers now, is it? It's something completely different. And I think that's what ATIP was about. But we have people who are, muddying the waters, giving other reasons, saying that this person and that person is doing this. And no, they fucked up. That they were actually talking about not unidentified area phenomena. They were talking about area phenomena from other countries. No, come on, really? I think that the U.S. is so fucking well connected. I think NORAD has so many eyes in the sky that they can tell when something is not from the U.K., when something is not from Russia. Don't you think, Ronnie, that they're basically fucking us over?
Yeah, and I don't know why some of this stuff, the stuff that's happening, when something comes in on the radar, and nobody knows what it is, somebody needs to be reporting that to the public. And right now, nobody's reported to the public. Back in the early days, yeah, it would, like the Phoenix Lights and stuff like that. Yeah, it would make it to the public. This now stuff is being seen on the radar, and nobody can explain it, and nobody's saying anything to the public. They have this opinion that we got to keep it away from the public. Don't let the public know. And and I find that really frustrating. That a mile-long craft can fly over North Central Texas, and it doesn't make the news. That's the kind of stuff that should make the news. That's the kind of stuff that people need to know about. Hey, something weird happened. At one point, I was working up in, I think it was southeastern Colorado, and I got stopped by a military jeep. And this is at a time when I was working up in Kansas, and I was working over in the Colorado area. And I got stopped by a military jeep, and there's 3 black helicopters flying around. And they said, hey, you guys working last night? I said, yeah, we had some guys working out here last night and stuff. And they said, they see anything odd, And I said, no, they didn't say anything about it, seeing anything odd. And I said, what's going on? I said, I've been seeing your helicopters, flying around. He said, well, we had a satellite in orbit that detected a heat signature in this area. And he said it would be equivalent to a passenger plane crashing or a rocket launch. And they said, we don't know what caused it, but the heat signature was so strong that it had to be either a plane crash or a rocket launch. He says, we're trying to investigate it to figure out what it was. And I thought, wow, that's very odd, because this is out in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's nothing could produce a heat signature like that around there anywhere. And they're asking people, and they're flying these helicopters around, but it never made the news. I never read anything in the news about it, but I actually knew that the government was checking out something that made a heat signature in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, and they were investigating it and flying helicopters around, trying to see burn marks or whatever caused it, and we don't know what caused it. And we never did find out what caused it, but I guarantee it was being researched, but it never made the public news. It was never in the paper. That's the kind of stuff that we need to get in the paper. That's the kind of stuff that we need to know about out here so we can research it on our own, where we can spread the word to the population. There's a lot of us out here working at nights, and maybe somebody saw something.
Well, that's the thing, Ronnie. There needs to be a concerted effort. We need to be able to funnel all these experiences into one avenue of communication with basically people who know how to get this information to the public, because that's not happening. And that's the whole blue-collar perspective. We need someone where, Joe and David and Tim, who are working out in the oil fields, who are working that security job late at night, they can get that information to someone who's going to funnel that and bypass Deuce Bigalow, the Space Gigolo, bypass MUFON, bypass New Fork, bypass Coast to Coast, bypass Fade to Black, and get that information to people in general through social media. And I think that's where UFO Buster Radio meets its niche.
Right. And, they tell me to report my sighting to New Fork. And do you know what New Fork is? New Fork is one old guy that lives up north. And, I appreciate what the guy does. He does a hell of a good job. And he records UFO sightings all over the world. And he does investigate them a little bit if time permits. But he's a really old guy. And he's worked pretty hard, and he has to cover all UFO sightings everywhere. And that's what New Fork is. It's one old guy and a computer.
Listen, I like old guys.
I wish I knew his name, and he's a really nice guy. I've heard him on the radio before, and but he works. He is way. He's not like $1 million organization to go out and study and research UFOs. He's just a guy, answers the phone and responds to people on the computer about what they saw and where they saw it, and he records it.
Well, listen,
one guy. It's one guy.
The thing is that old guys smell great. That's the one thing I want to say. They smell great. But listen, we can't blame the old guy, because he's eventually his reports that he gets goes to $1 million person, $1 billion person to be exact.
Right.
Deuce Bigalow, the Space Gigolo. But we can bypass that, can't we? Can't we bypass that, Ronnie?
We just give him $22 million to do what? Did we ever figure out what he did with the money?
No. The story is that he basically built a server that his own people couldn't get into. His own company employees could not get into that server, taking all the reports from the FAA, and basically he's building an analysis. Think about it. He's building a database, and now basically analyzing all the UFO reports to come up with a pattern, a model for UFOs. On top of that, he took all the Skinwalker Ranch information and he put that into the database. The guy has so much information, there's no way that Deuce Bigalow, the Space Gigolo, does not know what UFOs are all about.
Wow. It's just sad, isn't it? $22 million of our money. And it's like, man, we just give our money to anyone, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? The $22 million is government money. How much money did Deuce Bigelow spend in it? Because remember, he created his own group of scientists to investigate Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
to be honest, I mean, $22 million is a drop in the bucket when it comes to what Deuce Bigelow, the space gigolo. And let me tell you, for you guys who are listening for first time, we're talking about Robert Bigelow. Robert Bigelow, the billionaire. He's the one who's gathering all the information, all from his experience that he had one day with his grandparents where he saw a UFO.
Right.
Money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if we could have given the money to Stephen Greer and just had him summon some UFO. He could have just summoned them down, and then we could have investigated them.
Yeah, but think about you, Ronnie, you're killing me. The thing about Stephen Greer, number one, he looks like a reptilian. Number two is that he's not fucking believable. I'm telling you, after the first documentary that I saw that he put out, I could not believe Stephen Greer, not 1 second, not one iota, not one penny more. And you know what? He just reached the money he needed for his recent documentary. Again, fuckers are giving him money for what? For him to tell a story about how he cried when he found out, after years of being an emergency room doctor, how he found out that UFOs are real. Come on, people, stop fucking around.
Yeah. Well, I can't say anything bad about Stephen Greer because he just friended me the other day. You know, I'm actually somebody now. You know, Stephen Greer friended me. So hey, man, I'm climbing the ufology ladder. You know, I'm like, okay. Stephen Greer friended me, and oh my God, Corey Good friended me. So man, you know what? I've got some powerful. I got friends in high places now. They don't know. I don't think they know who I am, though. Yeah. Well, you know, he's got the balls to stand in front of Congress and talk about UFOs, and ain't nothing ever came of that, did it? It's like, you know. Well, I think, you know, it's a big waste of going to Congress for anything is kind of a waste of time. And I mean, Congress, they can't even, God, you know, they can't even impeach Trump. I mean, it's like, right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I'm like, you know, uh, and I'm like, you wouldn't even ask if you knew how poor I was. but, but, oh man, you know, Congress is so freaking broke right now, man. It's like, it's pathetic. You know, we're gonna have to fix it at some point. You know, we're gonna have to fix our government. I don't know what it's gonna take to fix our government and our media, and I don't know. I think the wheels are coming off this damn thing. I really worry about where the human race is going to be in 10 years, man. I'm just hoping if ET don't come down and show us, and that is my hope, man. Because I sit here, I've talked to these guys. I wish I could show them to everybody, And I think, because what they told me that they want to bring about disclosure. They're not relying on our government to do it. And from the conversation I had with those guys, they don't seem like they're too impressed with our government. In fact, they've got some harsh words for our government. They're gonna tell them that you're putting yourself in danger with your nuclear testing, and they're investigating our planet to see if we had any part. They think that there's an attack launched through an interdimensional portal that they could have been staged from our planet, and if we had a part in that, Manny, it may not go well for us. I mean, these guys, they were nice, but at the same time, they very well had the capacity to not be nice. I had the feeling that they could get it go either way. You know what I'm saying? And from the conversation they had with me, I don't think they're too impressed with our government. And they're gonna have a conversation with our government, and I don't think it's gonna be a friendly one. I think it's gonna be a straight out threat. But as far as the people of Earth, they don't seem like they're pissed off at us at all. They seem like they're very interested in us. Perhaps feel a little bit sorry for us. So, and they asked me, he said, how do we go about telling you guys that we're here? And I told them, I said, a global display of alien presence across the whole Earth. Fly a big ship in here and circle the Earth until every country on the face of this globe knows that ET is here. I said, that's what we need. That's what it's going to take. And they told me when they left, they said, we will communicate that to the others. Now I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm waiting on it to happen. Every day when I go outside, Manny, I look up at the sky and I hope to see that son of a bitch. I hope I look up in the sky and I see this son of a bitch flying overhead, circling the globe in broad daylight, and then no one out there can deny it. And I can't wait. I hope I'm alive to see the day. And I hope it ain't that
Ronnie,
far away.
We're there with you, and UFO Buster Radio wants to be there with you as well. And I want to say something funny, but before you started talking, the last 3 minutes of me going on a rampage, you were the only one that heard it because I had everyone else on mute. Fuck my life. That's what happens. That's called live radio, fuckers. Yeah, that's me.
Hey, maybe
Moonraker. I fuck it up.
Stephen Greer has your mute button.
Yeah, exactly. It was Greer. It is freaking reptilian buddies. Fuckers. God damn it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what I want to say. And this is the thing I've thought about for some time. And I've thought about it for a long time. Is that, UFO Buster Radio has to be more than a coast to coast. UFO Buster Radio has to be more than a Fade to Black. And, in a lot of ways, and talking to Sawyer, I feel that UFO Buster Radio has a cult following. And you know what? Sadly enough, there was a few people that died for that cult following when it comes to Heaven's Gate. I don't want people to die. I want people to put their lives in front stage and talk about what they experienced. That's all I want people to do. I don't need people to give up their lives for it, but I really feel that we need to reach a wider audience. We need to know more about the people that listen to and experience things that related to UFO. And you know what? People like Coast to Coast, people like Fade to Black, they just want you to tell the story and then they'll piss over and let you go for the next fucker who has a good story and wants to promote their book or whatever it is. But we don't want to do that. Yeah. We want you to put your story out front and personal every time, all day, every day of the year, like Ronnie does. And that's the thing about Ronnie, is that we take pride in talking to Ronnie and listening to his story, because Ronnie is not afraid, and neither should you be. You should be out there telling your story. And if Fade to Black doesn't want to listen to you, find another podcast. Find UFO Buster Radio. Find somebody else that'll listen to you. Just because people like Fade to Black and Jimmy Church don't want to listen to you, so fucking what? If Coast to Coast doesn't want to listen to you, so fucking what? It's a new era. We don't need Coast to Coast. We don't need Fade to Black. You could have your story told wherever you want to. And we want to be the avenue for that. And there's a lot more to come in that in the next few months. But I guarantee you that one of the first persons that you will see telling that story, I guarantee you it'll be Ronnie Dawson, because I have a feeling that we're going to, talk about things in the near future that will get Ronnie's story out front and personal for everyone to listen to. And, Ron says that we should be on Fade to Black. Ronnie, what do you think? Should we join Fade to Black tonight and give him fucking hell?
I wish I could. If I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, I would. I have to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, so it would be great to get in there and give them a hard time. But, man, yeah, I think they would just tune us out. Their gangs of fans would just attack us. They would beat us over the head with clubs.
Well, I don't care. Listen, Ronnie,
I
will put on a motorcycle helmet, just sit there, and take the beatings. I don't care, because I have no other thing to promote other than the truth. And the truth is that UFOs are unknown, and people need to pull themselves up by the big girl panties, and they need to stop fucking around and listen to other folks that are not necessarily related to government agencies or related to people who just want to sell that dollar bill.
Right. Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate you being here for us, Manny. A place that we can come and tell it all, because, there for a while I thought about not telling my story, and I said I'd lose my job and I'd do all sorts of things. And I've had trolls actually call my employer and tell them that they have an employee that's a nut and he needs to be fired. and it will happen. That's what happens. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you get up there. But then at the same time, I was thinking, if I've had this experience and I've sat on this knowledge and I don't tell anyone about it, how would I feel if the Earth got invaded by aliens and I knew that they were here and didn't try to tell anyone? How would I feel when my neighbors got torn apart by these things? How would I feel when they rolled through the streets and zapped everyone and killed everyone that lives on my street and burned their houses? How would I feel if I had sit on that information and not told anyone? And I said, it doesn't matter. What I experienced is way more important than what people think of me, and it's important that I share the knowledge. If I don't share the knowledge, and then if I don't share the experience, then I'm responsible. If something goes south, then I could have done something about it, and I could have tried to get the word out that something's going on. It's better than sitting there with the guilt that I sent them the information that could have saved thousands, if not millions, of people.
That is absolutely correct, Ronnie Dawson. And the fact is, plausible deniability is not a way out. It's not the way for you to be innocent of whatever happens. And if you have an experience and you listen or you look or you read, let's say on Facebook, that someone 1,300 miles away has a similar experience, it doesn't mean just because you decided to crawl into your shower and have an incident where you sit there and cry while the shower runs over you, or you have the whole banjo incident, right, in the woods, and you don't tell anybody. Come on, you've got to tell people. The only way we solve this, as Jennifer Stein would say, is from a grassroots movement. You can't wait on the government. You can't wait on the cops. The cops have historically chased after UFOs, and they themselves have been ignored. You cannot. Right. You cannot wait for anyone in authority to give you the answer. Disclosure is a slow-moving turtle, and guess what? You're not the hare to beat that. But if you have an entire, and this is not a pun on Easter, but if you had an entire family of hares, behind you, a bunch of rabbits reporting what they've experienced, guess what? This is going to be a good Easter, because basically you have an entire family of people brought together who've had the same experience throughout the world, not just the country. But this is not a United States thing. This is an Australia thing. This is a UK thing. This is an Ireland thing. South Africa, Japan, Turkey, Canada. This is a worldwide thing. And there is no fucking body that can say that we have a worldwide psychosis going on. No, this is not a psychosis thing. This is basically people who are not being acknowledged, people who are not being listened to because there is something going on worldwide that no one gives two fucks about because they want to hide a secret, something that they don't want you to know. And I think that we will build an avenue to get that beyond things like, Fade to Black and Coast to Coast, beyond NBC News, beyond ABC News, beyond Fox News. We're going to find an avenue to get this, circumvent all these fuckers, because we want the blue-collar voice to be heard. And we're going to do that. Then that's the way it is. I thank Ronnie Dawson, and I thank Ron for being on here, because they are the voices of what is going on. They're going on in the world. Ronnie, any last words for the folks that are listening tonight?
It's been an honor to be here, and you guys don't be shy to call me. And it feels so much better just to get it off your chest, because when I had my experience, I didn't tell anyone for a long time, and it hurts. It hurt me inside, and it will make you crazy to go through that kind of stuff and then not share it, not get it off your chest, and you'll confirm your sanity by facing your fear and coming forth and sharing with your fellow man, and you have a responsibility to do so. And you get it off your chest, to get it out there in public and let the public know what's going on. And then you'll find others who are willing. It's like Jim Marlin. I would have never met Jim Marlin if I wouldn't have told my story. And then once I told my story and I met Jim Marlin, and then Jim Marlin told me his story, and I met hundreds of other people the same way. Now that they know, and I've had the courage to go forth and say something like that, they have the courage to seek me out and tell me their story. And these stories are out there, and there are a lot of them, and they're not all made up. And these guys, they just like my story, they can go into great detail, not something that you could just dream up, and not something you can explain. There's lots of things about my story. When you hear these guys on some of these other radio stations and they know every aspect of the story, that's a freaking liar. Because my story, I have no idea how they did some of the things they did. I have no idea what they meant when they said this and when they said that. And that's the way a real encounter is going to go. If somebody's telling you they know every aspect about what ET is doing, they're full of crap. They're lying to you. It's not the way it works. They didn't tell me everything. I hope someday to find out. And if you got a story, please come forward and tell us. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. Ronnie, customarily, we do one thing, and that's what we say ciao to the folks before we sign out. Can you give them a big ciao?
Hey, ciao, people.
That's Ronnie Dawson, and I thank him for joining us today, and Ron as well. Listen, don't be afraid. You need to tell your story, and you don't got to go through an approval stage. You don't got to listen to someone at Jimmy Church's group telling you, "Oh no, your story's good. Oh no, your story's bad," or nothing like that. We listen to whatever the fuck you want to say, and reach me at the Facebook group UBR Truth Seekers, Facebook pages Manny Moonraker and UFO Buster Radio, or the Twitter page UFO Buster Radio. I will listen to you. I will bring you on the show, and I don't care. That's the thing. I'm not here to sell books. I'm not here to sell experiences. I'm here to share information, and that's what we're about. So to kind of end the episode, we're gonna play a song to get us out of here, but I'll check you out next week after Easter, and hopefully we'll get Donnie Brooks on here next weekend to talk about his take on ufology. But I thank you guys for listening, and from me to you, and Ronnie Dawson and Ron, ciao.
the sand.